back to another Couch Potato General Manager video. Joining me, CPGM Drew. I am CPGM Juice. Drew, we're going to do a head-to-head mock draft, man. You know, mock draft season is in full swing with the 2021 NFL regular season being done. So the first 18 picks are etched in stone, assuming obviously there are no additional trades. And we do imagine teams to move up and down the board. But as far as the draft order is concerned, the first 18 picks are etched in stone. And Drew, you're going to actually be drafting for all of the AFC teams in the first round. I'll be drafting for the NFC teams. Let's get right into it. But right before we do that, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. All right, Drew, kick us off, man. You got the Jags with the first overall pick.
Yeah, man. You already. Well, maybe you don't know where I'm going because we haven't discussed anything. But I talked about it in our last mock, and I'm talking about it in this mock. I'm gonna protect the franchise, and Trevor Lawrence. You saw what he did in that last game. He ruined the Colts' season for the most part. I mean, we can put some of that on wins, but
that's some varsity blues type stuff right there.
Yeah,
yeah. My perfect season, son.
They all know about that. Let us know down in the comment section if you know about that. That's a classic right there. But I'm going with Icky. Yeah, I'm going with the man from NC State, the bully, the guy who's taking no BS, the bodyguard, the bouncer standing outside you trying to get in. He's not letting you in. You're not pretty enough. He's going to protect his pretty quarterback and Trevor Lawrence on that left-hand side. Let's get it, man. Protect the franchise.
Bro, did you know that this man ran anchor on his track relay team in high school, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Like, he's crazy athletic, bro. And really, that's what the debate is. I mean, obviously, you still have a group of folks who believe that they should go edge rusher. The Jags did struggle to affect the passer. Certainly understand that. Evan Neal, of course, is a fairly popular pick overall. I think just in terms of the pedigree and the fact that, you know, he's clean. He's a clean prospect, right? Very respectable minds as it pertains to the offensive line in particular, in terms of evaluating prospects along the offensive line. Believe Quano is the top prospect among the tackles here, man. So certainly makes a lot of sense. I'm on the clock next with the Detroit Lions, and I'm not going to waste any time. I know after his interview with Joe Klatt, he's caught some flack in terms of some of the things that he was saying, and now people are comparing him to Davian Clowney and all kind of nonsense going on right now, man. But I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do the right thing because not unlike the Jaguars, the Lions struggle to affect the passer. There's a large contingency that believes Kayvon Thibodeau is the best prospect in the class. He certainly has the highest ceiling among the edge rushers in terms of being able to affect the passer. So the Lions go in and get a stud on the edge to affect said passer.
Some Detroit, some Michigan fans aren't happy with that pick.
You know what? I understand that. I think Thibodeau has a higher ceiling. As much as I like Hutchinson, and I'm not putting too much stock into the Orange Bowl game where, you know, he got shut out or whatever the case may be. As I said before, I think Georgia just did a really good job of game planning for him. You might put Hutchinson on par with Thibodeau, but the only edge rusher that you could consider that's better than him isn't draft eligible, and that's Will Anderson. So, you know, I'm perfectly comfortable with Thibodeau, and I certainly understand the angst of not having the hometown product in Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit, but we're going to get some West Coast love here.
Yeah, next up, we got the Houston Texans, man. You know, finished at the bottom of the division. And listen, man, you know, I'm not happy that they fired Cully. Apparently, you know, word is he wasn't that well of a communicator, I guess, within the organization or within the players. I don't know, bro. Just rumors flying around.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, rumors flying around.
And Brian Flores is supposed to be the guy, bro. That's who they're going for. You know what I'm saying? And listen.
I guess they get tired of getting fleeced by the Dolphins, so they might as well, you know what I'm saying? If you can't beat them, join them, I guess.
Join them. But here's the thing, though. Here's the funny thing. Rumors are, as we know, that Brian Flores comes to the Texans. Deshaun Watson stays. Like what you couldn't make this up, as people like. You can't make this up. You know what I mean?
No,
so if that's the case, now you got your quarterback back. You know, it's suspended for a year, if you will, kind of self-imposed, whatever you want to call. But now my thought process, dang, should we go receiver? Should we go receiver? No, I'm not going receiver, bro. We're going to go Aiden Hutchinson.
All right.
Help this defense out. The defense wasn't that bad. It's just, you know, they just didn't have a superstar player there, and they did trade away or let go of some pieces in Zach Cunningham and Whitney Merciless. Yeah, so do the right thing. Aiden Hutchinson coming off the edge, power, technique. Guy has it all. Not as sexy as Thibodeau, but hey, man, he's going to be consistent. That's for sure.
Yeah, but before you move on to the Jets pick, I want to get your thoughts on what about Evan Neal in this 3-hole right here? What do you think about that?
I'm not hating it. I'm not hating it. I thought about offensive line, thought about Evan Neal, but I got Deshaun Watson. I'm okay with him moving around. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So again, in your world, Watson is back at the controls.
Yeah.
You go ahead and get Aiden Hutchinson. You've lost, to your point, some talent along that defensive side of the ball in terms of being able, once again, to affect the passer. That's the name of the game, right? Keeping the passer upright, affecting the passer. You go with Aiden Hutchinson here. The Jets, you're up again.
I'm thinking here, receiver.
Wow. More
cornerback.
Corner. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got your pick of the litter in terms of the receivers here. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know, you're the top team in terms of get the guy you want for receiver. I could go offensive line.
So you're not feeling the Jets receiving core? What's going on here?
No, I just need another guy, another reliable guy, because a lot of the issues that went on with the Jets, man, they were dropping passes, not where they were supposed to be on certain routes. Like it wasn't all on Zach Wilson.
I thought injuries played a role with respect.
Yeah, that too.
You know what I'm saying? Corey Davis went down. Elijah Moore, obviously when he was healthy, he was doing business. You know what I mean? They found something in Braxton Berrios here in the last month or so. So, yes, Denzel Mims has been a disappointment for one reason or another. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually not going to put all of it on Mims. I think this particular coaching staff just may not necessarily be terribly fond of him. Keelan Cole, obviously, is like I said, tertiary fourth option in the passing game. He's not necessarily someone that you're game planning for. So, but I think the top three guys are solid. But right here in the 4-hole, you still thinking receiver?
Nah, I can't do it, bro. It's a thought though, because you think about it, you're like, we have the pick of the litter, like you know what I'm saying? It's there for us for the taking. But however, hit you with them transition words.
Yes,
I'm gonna go with the best offensive lineman in this draft.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go with Tyler Linderbaum.
Really?
Yeah, let's go.
Really?
Let's go ahead, bro.
Linderbaum?
Guard, center, doesn't really matter. Stick them in there and let's run it, bro. Let's go.
This is interesting. We got to spend a little time on this one.
Okay.
You definitely threw a curveball at me. I was not anticipating.
You thought I was going to Evan Neal, bro?
Well, when you said offensive line, I assumed Evan Neal. Evan Neal. You know what I'm saying? Because Evan Neal, obviously, he's played right tackle, he's played guard, and he's played left tackle most recently. So you can leave Mekhi Becton at left tackle. You can plug Neal in on the right side. And like I said before in the previous mock draft, if I got those two guys flanking Elijah Vera Tucker and figure out that the other couple of spots, you have the makings of a dominant offensive line. You just imagine running inside and outside zone. Inside, outside zone with Michael Carter with those guys up front. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, of course, keeping Zach Wilson upright. So, but this comes as a little bit of a surprise. I was not anticipating Tyler Linderbaum just yet. Now, he wouldn't have got past one of those next 4 picks coming.
Right.
I'll be real with you. Right. I'll be real with you. But I wasn't anticipating Tyler Linderbaum here.
To me, he's the best offensive lineman in the draft. So,
you said it.
You know what I'm saying? And O-line was an issue. Obviously, it's obviously tackle. I think tackle just in general. Becton gets hurt, and they couldn't stay healthy in general on that offensive line, along with the receivers. But yeah, man, I'm going to go with Linderbaum. He's a plug-and-play player. If you play, I prefer him at center, but he can. I don't think anybody's going to challenge the fact that he can't play guard if he's not going to play the center position. So plug and play, and let's run it. And he gives you the option to kind of move pieces around if need be. So
sure. So the added versatility is certainly part of that. He's a little light. But I imagine he'll put on 10, 15 pounds and be just fine. Continue to dominate at the next level. And if you've noticed what Creed Humphrey has done for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think Linderbaum can have a similar impact. Obviously, it's a very different team. There are different trajectories in terms of where they're at. So I got the Giants up here in the 5th hole. The Giants have had an issue up front. They got a lot of expiring contracts. It's going to look very different in 2022. And I think it's going to look a lot better, particularly when you have Evan Neal bookending Andrew Thomas here, making an immediate impact, helping out Saquon Barkley. He's actually going into his contract year, stabilize it up front. Evan Neal, like I said before, very clean prospect, position flexibility, although I expect him to play right tackle for us here in New York. And like I said, he's clean. He's clean. He may not necessarily have the immense ceiling that Ekwonu has, but it's not that far off. I mean, it's really kind of neck and neck as far as I'm concerned for the top offensive tackle in this class. All right. So next up, we have the Carolina Panthers. And I am hard pressed, Drew. I must tell you, I am hard pressed to go quarterback here. I for one am not a Sam Darnold fan. I have never been a Sam Darnold fan. I'm not sure why Matt Rule and company in their infinite wisdom decided to just give him the fifth year option without actually doing anything. There's also a glaring need along that offensive line. And I don't know if you've heard about the scuttlebutt. You know what I'm saying? Matt Rule is actually catching a lot of flack, a lot of heat on Twitter. I mean, we're talking about
mouth, bro.
I'm telling you, we're talking about like not just draft nicks and draft Twitter. I'm talking about like, respective members in the industry going in on him. Because apparently during an interview this week, he mentioned that, they decided against Rashawn Slater last year because his arms were too short. They didn't think they should take a guard that early. And of course, Slater had a great season at left tackle for the Los Angeles Chargers. And of course, they selected Brady Christensen last year, who's a tackle by trade, but they wanted him to play guard, but he ended up playing most of his snaps last season at tackle. Here we are, and here I am faced with the decision. Do we continue to plug away along that offensive line, or do we go quarterback here, man? Do we turn the page on Sam Darnold? Against my better judgment, Drew, against my better judgment, I'm gonna beef up the offensive line. I'm gonna beef up the offensive line. I really want to pull the trigger here, but you know what? I'm still very early in my quarterback evaluation, so I'm gonna go with Charles Cross here. I mentioned before, Brady Christensen obviously is a tackle by trade, but he also showed that he has the flexibility to play both guard spots. I think now with Monton, Cross at your tackle positions, of course, the Panthers struggle in terms of protecting the passer. And then you move Christensen inside as a full-time starter. I think you start to have the makings of a good group here. Actually, would have really liked Linderbaum here because I think Pat Elflein is a liability at the pivot. But I'm certainly
for a minute.
Yeah, I'm certainly okay with Charles Cross. And we're talking about perhaps the best pass protector in this particular class. So I'm going to go Charles Cross here. The Giants back on the clock. They too have a question at quarterback. This is a unique opportunity here. Again, you feel good about what you have along the offensive line. Now that we've added Evan Neal to the mix.
George Karlaftis, bro. Let's get it.
Karlaftis is very, very intriguing at this juncture. However, I'm going to call an audible right here. I swear that Linderbaum threw me for
mess you up, bro.
Talking about throughout this draft cycle thus far, early in the draft cycle, obviously, but throughout this draft cycle thus far, we've been talking about that in today's NFL that you got to score points, right? You got to score points. You know what I'm saying? The most important position group is the offensive line. The most important single position is quarterback. Joe Judge is out. Dave Gettleman is out.
Yep.
I'm ready to start it anew. You know what I mean? And people might, be hesitant about the idea of a Kenny Pickett here because of perhaps what he had done previous to this breakout season. Well, he's played in a lot of different schemes, a lot of different offenses. It's what he does. Is what he does on a consistent basis in terms of being able to see the entire field and make throws to every part of the field that I think is really missing here. I think the Giants have some talent. Like I said, now with Evan Neal in the fold, we got the makings of a legitimate offensive line. They may not necessarily be dominant out the gate, but a legitimate offensive line. So I'm gonna reset here, man. I'm gonna reset here. Now we got a new brain trust in New York. I'm gonna go with Kenny Pickett.
So Jones is on the bench. Are we trading him?
I'm certainly on the phone. See if there's another team that might be interested in him. Next up, I had a quartet of picks here in a row. I got the Falcons on the clock, and this one is easy for me. The Falcons were the worst in the league in terms of getting to the passer. They had a paltry 18 sacks on the season. Let's go ahead and get George Karlaftis and help change that. I think what Atlanta's trying to do with DPs as the defensive coordinator, they want to be multiple. Karlaftis gives you the ability to set a physical edge in an even man front. He can play 5 technique. He can play 3 technique. He can stand up if you need him to. I think the power that he generates, the quickness off the snap. Karlaftis obviously doesn't get the same buzz that Thibodeau and Hutchinson get, but I think he is of that talent. I think he is that good of a player that he could be considered in the same breath as those guys. So getting Karlaftis here at 8 for the Falcons, who are desperate need of a pass rush, is perfect as far as I'm concerned.
I like the pick. I hate it because I want him to still be on the board for my picks, but it is what it is. Denver Broncos, man. I've been going back and forth while you've been thinking about it, man, and it really comes down to who's the quarterback next year. Obviously, It's not going to be Teddy. It's not going to be Gloves. Drew Lock, I kind of wish they would have gave him a shot, a much bigger shot to become the quarterback this year in particular.
Drew Lock ain't it, bro.
No, he's probably not it. It is what it is. Bro. He ain't it, bro. It's not it.
I've seen enough. I understand where you're coming from, and there certainly is a segment of the population of the football enthusiast community that would have liked to see more Drew Lock this season, but. I've seen enough. Not unlike Daniel Jones.
It comes really down to at this point is, okay, so are we going to trade for a quarterback, a Matt Ryan, going to eat some of that contract? Are we going to be able to be in the Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers market? Because one of as far as we were concerned, we thought the Aaron Rodgers to Denver deal was done last year until it wasn't for whatever reason.
Sure.
Right. So my assumption, Mom says never to assume, but we're going to do that here, is that they're probably going to be able to target one of those guys, that someone's going to come by and be the quarterback for the Broncos. Don't know who it'll be. In my estimation, it'll probably be Aaron Rodgers, but we'll see.
Well, let me just say this before you actually make your pick. It won't be Matt Ryan. It won't be Matt Ryan because I can't imagine the team is going to eat that much cap, right, for a quarterback who's going to be 37, 38 years old, right? And it appears his best football is behind him. I actually think Matt Ryan is still serviceable. I think he had the Falcons right there in the mix, despite, like I mentioned, their inability to affect the passer and get off the field. Certainly, he had a dearth of weapons available to him throughout this season. $40 million worth of dead cap to move off of him, and then to try to convince another organization to actually eat some of that. I just can't imagine that it's going to happen. So Matt Ryan stays in Atlanta. So to your point, it's a Rodgers, perhaps a Russell Wilson conversation.
Whoever the quarterback is, one of the glaring needs for the Broncos obviously is offensive line, and I'm kind of going back and forth whether it's going to be Green from Texas A&M or Kennard from Kentucky. Kennard is a stalwart at the tackle position, but also you have Green, who has played all the offensive line positions as far as I'm concerned, outside of maybe center. Obviously I think he's probably a better player inside, but if you can play him outside if need be. And I know Denver has had issues all over that offensive line. It kind of makes a decision for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with Kenyon Green, man. Stick him in there, man, for the versatility, man. Versatility is going to get you drafted higher than you otherwise would. Not to say he's not a bad player or his value's not worth the 9th pick overall, but I like him a lot, and I think he's a plug-and-play player here for the Denver Broncos. Next up, we got the New York Jets. And here, listen, we could go Kennard. We could go, is it Trevor Penning? Here. We could get our tackle.
Whoa, wait.
What?
So you went.
I'm just talking, bro. We're just talking.
Okay. Right. Let me let you finish talking.
No,
I just want the record to show. Let me scroll up a little bit.
Best up, Neil.
The viewers. That is where Drew went. Right there at number 4. That's where he went.
Just saying.
The 4th overall pick. So, all right.
I'm just saying that's now the offensive line is no longer an issue if we go with Kennard or we go with Penning, right?
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a done deal. It's locked signed. In.
Yes.
No excuses. Yes. You know what I'm saying? You said earlier the receiving core, barring, injury, that's actually a pretty good squad in terms of the outside. You know what I'm saying? So. And listen, I got a weapon. I think they can go get in the second round. You know what I'm saying? Doing a little research, Senior Bowl work. You know what I'm saying? A guy that I'm thinking about. So Jets fans, not that we're going into the second round, hold your horses. Or do we need to go corner here? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they do need help on the outside. I do like some of the corners they have, but they got guys playing too many snaps because they're just not starters. They're guys that should come in particular situational football, and matching guys up against certain receivers and getting the best out of the players, matching them up well. Oh man, this is tough, man. This is tough. But I can't pass up the talent at the cornerback position. And I'm gonna take my number one corner. People are gonna be screaming and yelling at me, but you already know where I'm going. Andrew Booth Jr. Lock him in, bro. Lock him in. Period, man. Let's do the right thing, man. But obviously a lot of the discussion there, if that's where they go. I know Jets fans gonna lose their mind either way.
We have the Washington football team or the Commanders or the G.I. Joes or whatever they're gonna be called on the clock.
The G.I. Joes be?
I don't know what they're gonna be called, man. We're gonna find out. I'm tempted to go quarterback here. You got Matt Corral, of course, Sam Howell, Malik Willis. Those are probably the guys that might be here in the conversation right here. But I'm actually going to go grab Kyle Hamilton. And the reason why I'm going to go Kyle Hamilton is because top 3 player in this particular class, amazing range, certainly has the ability to transform what you do defensively because of his versatility, because of his range, because of his ball skills and his ability to make plays. Landon Collins, whom, at one point early in his career looked like, a potential defensive player of the year candidate, he just struggled to stay healthy. They're paying him a lot of money. They have an opportunity to get out of his contract here with, a palatable dead money amount here and be able to replace Landon Collins with a Kyle Hamilton. I think this really solidifies Washington's defense. You get Chase Young back. You know what they have in terms of that down line. They invested, an early round pick in Javis last year at the second level. I think you get Kyle Hamilton and that back seven, it becomes really formidable. I think you got quality corners, maybe not necessarily world beaters, but quality corners in Jackson and Fuller. Hamilton can kind of roam the area. You can use him around the line of scrimmage. Again, he's one of those chess pieces, not unlike Landon Collins, but he's a much better athlete overall. Save some money on the Landon Collins contract, and I think you actually get an upgrade at the safety position here in Kyle Hamilton. All right. Next up, we got the Minnesota Vikings. There will be a new regime in Minnesota in terms of Mike Zimmer and Wolf being out as GM. They may be in the market for a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Even with Kirk Cousins still under contract, they may be on the market for a quarterback to kind of reset things in Minnesota. But they also have a glaring need at defensive back, cornerback in particular. You got basically everybody on the board outside of Andrew Booth. You have a Derek Stingley Jr., who's obviously his pedigree is well known. Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. And then, of course, my guy, Roger McCreary. You know what I'm saying? Those are probably the top 3 guys that I have here. And I know a lot of people really like Trent McDuffie as well from Washington. I'm not going to discount your boy Kyrie Elam either. A lot of guys to choose from. I actually think this would be a good spot for the Vikings to trade down the way this particular board has played out, because there is a pseudo rebuild here, right? If I had to make the pick, I'm going to grab Derek Stingley. Okay.
Do the right thing, bro.
I'm going to grab Derek Stingley. There are a couple corners that intrigue me a bit more than Derek Stingley, but I think just in terms of, like I said, I keep on using the term pedigree. It's the expectation that he had when he entered college. Coming out of high school, he became a starter day one, and the ball production is there. I think he has great eyes in terms of being able to find the football. He always gets his head around. Those are things that you just simply can't teach. A lot of corners at the moment of truth, they grab, they hold, they don't locate the football, even though they're in position to make the play. That's never the case with Stingley. The one thing that I would like to see from Stingley a bit more is for him to be more physical, because he always so frequently he aligns in press technique and he's doing the mirror match thing. And that frustrates me to no end.
I think that's an LSU thing, bro. That at the snap, turn and run. Yeah. I get it, because it's part of their scheme. It works for them. And they can attack the football, when they see it. I get it. But yeah, it just makes you like, damn, like they missing that one last element. Do they have it? Do they have it or do they not have it? And obviously every corner that's kind of come out of there, they do have it. It's just that's not what LSU wants to do. I don't hate the pick. I really thought she was going to go with your boy Sauce, but it is what it is. Maybe you hoping he falls to somebody else. We'll see. And by the way, for anybody that's like yelling at us, screaming at us, killing us right now in the comment section, it's a little bit different when you don't know what's going to happen. It's one thing for you to kind of do your own thing and your every pick versus someone else picking like, dang, now I got to go back to the drawing board.
Yes,
or,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's
in a sense, it's ultimately what the 32 organizations face, right? They may have a sense. There's generally a consensus board in terms of what the feeling is across the board, but certainly, you never know. There's going to be twists and turns, and like you said, this is challenging just with two people. Just with two people not knowing necessarily what the other person is going to do. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, I think this is a perfect spot for the Vikings to trade down because there's so many good corners on the board here.
I agree.
Go ahead and get some more assets. Be able to throw more things against the wall to see if it sticks. Again, like I said, this is effectively a rebuild in Minnesota. That doesn't mean that they don't have talent, but when you jettison both GM and head coach, that to me suggests, and potentially quarterback as well, that to me suggests rebuild.
Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns, man, with the 13th pick overall. And I'm kind of going back and forth because I think receiver is just something they have to grab. You got to help your quarterback in Baker Mayfield. He'll be back next year. And so my thought process is here. Is it Garrett Wilson? Is it Chris Olave? Love both guys coming out of Ohio State. They both have different skill set in terms of what they do. One is fantastic with the ball after catch, and one is a smooth, silky route runner. And he has some chops after the catch, but it's not to the level of Wilson.
Right.
And then there's the guy, bro. I'm gonna skip right to him, man, because I'm like, hey, man, I need a guy who can do it all. And Treylon Burks. And is a guy who is dangerous. And I think he's actually going to end up being the first guy off the board unless he just blows. At the position. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Unless he just has a terrible combine or knock on wood, he gets hurt in any way, shape, or form going through the process. Treylon Burks, man, listen, you should not be the size that he is and move like he does. And I'm not talking just straight up, just straight line speed. Like, he was used at every position you could be used at on the offense outside of quarterback, and because he's special, man. And he can run through tackles. He can make you miss. He can go up and get the football. He can run past you. Like, it's amazing. And players like that, I get a little worried. And he doesn't have a history of it, but guys that are that big usually have some type of injury history followed up by it because they're not supposed to be moving that fast. But he ain't got no problems. So I'm going to go ahead and do Treylon Burks here, wide receiver out of Arkansas for Baker Mayfield. No excuses. This is it. If you don't pull it off this year, you get the axe, and we hit the reset button on that position.
I hate to put this out there without being able to attribute it to the appropriate person, but I do vaguely recall on Twitter that somebody made the statement with respect to Treylon Burks that he's basically a cross between AJ Brown and DK Metcalf.
Bro, the mutant out here, bro. We just splicing genes and stuff and putting it together.
And I can see it. It was really interesting. I was taken aback by it a little bit, but he kind of gives you the best of both worlds with respect to two absolute, test tube babies. You understand what I'm saying? Like you said, a guy that big, built in that fashion, really shouldn't be able to move. Like, it's kind of what it's kind of like? It's kind of like, not as polished as this particular receiver was coming out, but it's kind of like Julio Jones. Julio Jones was a bigger receiver that had small slot receiver type feet. You understand what I'm saying? His ability to get in and out and change direction. And Burks has some of that in his game. Absolutely.
14th pick, we have the Baltimore Ravens, man.
What you gonna do?
I'm thinking.
What you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the right thing, man.
You gonna do the right thing?
I'm gonna do the right thing.
All right, let's go to
I'm gonna go ahead. It's offensive line here. We're not gonna go corner. We could go edge. Actually, that actually is the other. I think eyesore for this team is edge.
Sure.
Hit us down in the comment section. Where would you go at this point in the draft for the Baltimore Ravens? Because I think it's going to be a big conversation going into the offseason. And obviously, assuming they don't fix this in free agency. I'm going to go Penning here. He just needs more snaps at the position. He has the physical tools and physical traits that you want at the position. And I think he just needs snaps. And it's just technique things with him, man. And at the end of the day, you had a good offensive line coach or a guy who can teach him those techniques. The Baltimore scheme isn't some exotic, crazy scheme. So, It's not a whole lot I think he has to learn. And so I think he'll be fine here, Baltimore. Slot him in. Let's get it.
I got back-to-back picks here with Philadelphia, and I know what the right thing to do is.
Yeah, I was going to say, do the right thing. Spike Lee, bro.
I know exactly what the right thing to do is. The Eagles have question marks at every level of their defense. Certainly up front, they're getting longer in the tooth. Contracts are expiring. You got David Ojabo right there, sitting there. Really like what he did in his final season in Michigan. But we're going to get weird. We're gonna get weird, bro. We're gonna get weird right here. They could really use somebody, across from Darius Slay as well. But we're gonna get weird, Drew.
Okay.
We're gonna get real weird here. Let me show you how weird we're gonna get. Real colorful, right? 40-year-old version colorful. We'll go Devin Lloyd.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna follow it up with Nakobe Dean.
Bro.
We're talking Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman light. That's what we're talking about. So obviously the Philadelphia Eagles, the second level of their defense has been an eyesore since perhaps their Super Bowl run, right? That's the last time that there was some respectability with respect to their second level of their defense. I think Devin Lloyd is a absolute missile. I think he's an absolute missile. First steps, quickness, and his ability to find the ball carrier, whether he's heading downhill and playing the run or working in the passing game, back shed blockers and make the tackle. I think he has all of that in spades. And then Nakobe Dean may not necessarily be quite the explosive athlete that Lloyd is, but he's not that far off, number one. And number two, the leadership and football IQ is completely off the charts. Completely off the charts. So now I got my second level set for the foreseeable future. You know what I'm saying? We're talking Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis type of deal. They do everything well. Like I said, against the run, green dogging, blitzing the passer, playing those passing lanes, even in man coverage. For the next 5 years, I am not concerned about the linebacking position in Philadelphia.
Next up, we have I almost said it, bro. I almost said what the name was back in the day. The Los Angeles Chargers. What was it, about 2 seasons ago? I don't even know. And I'm looking here, bro, and it's one of two players, bro, at the end of the day here. The position is going to be interior defensive line here. So
it's Jordan Davis or Leo.
Yeah, I mean that's it. He gives you the versatility. He allows you to do different things up front. We always talk about putting your best 11 on the field. He's going to allow you to do that with your best front 7 up there. And yeah, man, I don't necessarily know that. Maybe Davis does that. It depends on how you feel about him and how you plan on using him, deploying him. But Leo, I mean, he play any of the defensive line positions. He has the weight, the size, he has the speed off the line, explosive. I think he probably dominated a three tech position, but there's nothing that he can't do as a defensive lineman, in my opinion. So he's too valuable to let go here. So let's go ahead and DeMarvin Lee out. Let's get it.
New Orleans Saints on the clock. Drew, we've talked about ad nauseum in terms of what their quarterback situation is going to look like. Obviously, they made somewhat of a commitment to Taysom Hill. Jameis Winston, you can probably get him back on a prove-it deal and kind of see what's going on there. They just struggled in terms of their weapons on the perimeter. That was the main deficiency on this team, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, right? Once of course, the quarterbacks were banged up, that of course exacerbated the fact that they didn't have consistent weaponry out there. We like Deontay Harris in his role. We like Marcus Callaway in his role, but they need a number one. Not sure what's going to happen with Michael Thomas. So I'm going to go with one of my favorite receivers in this particular class. This has customarily been the Traylon Burks territory. I think it'd be really interesting to see what Sean Payton could do with him. But considering that he is off the board, I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson, man. I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson, that there's nothing that he can't do on the field. I think he's special at the moment of truth and when the ball's in his hand. And he doesn't get enough credit for what he does as a route runner. So Wilson to the Saints to really bolster that passing game. All right.
I like it. I hate it as a Bucs fan, but I like it as a football fan. Get it?
Yeah. We coming for Carlton Davis. That's what we're doing. We coming for him.
Shots fired, bro. Shots fired.
All right. So Philly is back on the clock.
Do the right thing, bro.
Do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got detailed. I see 2 players. I'm looking at 3 players, but I'm looking at 2 mainly.
2 in particular. Man. Yeah. And it's Ahmad Gardner and David Ojabo here.
Right.
Conventional wisdom tells you, bro, get a Jabo, get one of the linebackers, and get a corner. Now, that's what
Yeah.
conventional wisdom does, bro. But
All
I couldn't pass up both the linebackers, bro. I couldn't do it.
I ain't mad at you.
I had to have it.
I mean, Derek Barnett's probably not coming back, I would assume.
Brandon Graham is coming back, but he's coming off the injury, right?
It's true.
I think Fletcher Cox is in his last year of his deal. My concern with David Ojabo is the fact that while I like what I see on tape, there's a question mark in terms of how stout he is against the run. And then, of course, 1 year worth of production. You know what I'm saying? And he's operating opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, who obviously was getting a lot of attention as well. So that isn't to say that I don't like Ojabo, but I do have some question marks there. I have fewer question marks regarding Ahmad Garner and Roger McCreary in particular. And I know that's not a name that is consistently talked about in the first round, but I am a big Roger McCreary fan. There's no corner in college football who's been in press coverage and actually jammed the receiver more than him. We're talking over 600 snaps where he's been in press coverage during his career. I'm telling you, bro, after the Senior Bowl, Roger McCreary's stock is going to soar. People may not like it. They may be disgusted with it, but because Philadelphia runs so much zone, I'm actually going to address the edge position. I'm actually going to go and focus on that pass rush, and we're going to roll the dice on David Ojabo. We'll roll the dice here. And grab Ojabo because, of course, we're going to have a lot of turnover along that D line this year, and then, of course, going into next offseason as well.
Yeah, the next pick is going to be quick, man. Listen, as soon as they said Ojabo, they were greeted with the next pick immediately, Roger Goodell, and we're gonna do the right thing. We're gonna cut through the minutia, cut the crap, and we're gonna add some spice and everything nice into the backfield of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And my assumption here, the thought process here, so you don't kill me down in the comment section, is we're going to fix the offensive line in the offseason or, you know what I'm saying? I guess we're still in the offseason, but in the free agency period, and we're going to go and get Malik Willis. Wrap it up.
Lock it up. You get in the closet.
Oh, let's get it.
All right. I mean, listen, you won't get any argument from me. I think we're going to have a ton of fun in Mobile because all of these quarterbacks will be in Mobile.
I love all of them, bro.
It's amazing. And these head-to-head mock drafts, as we continue to go throughout the draft process leading up to the 2022 NFL draft, is likely going to change quite a bit after we're able to see these guys live. You know what I mean? See how they operate with, the rest of the players in Mobile and see how they perform. We analyze the film and we try to take all things into consideration. Malik Willis obviously didn't play with anybody who is of NFL talent. So that certainly put a ceiling on some of the things that he could actually accomplish, right? But now that he gets that opportunity in Mobile, how does he fare when he's, I guess facing the likes of Sam Howell and Kenny Pickett and Bailey Zappi, Carson Strong, Desmond. I mean, literally everybody's there except for Matt Corral. Literally, You know what I'm saying? So it'll be really interesting to see how it plays. But I'm with you. I think the Steelers have to be really aggressive about addressing their offensive line in the offseason with veteran talent. I know that's typically not their MO to really go heavy into free agency, but assuming they have enough wiggle room as far as cap room is concerned, they need to really shore that up. Not only for Najee Harris, ultimately, but for your next signal caller, and in this case, Malik Willis.
Next up, we have the New England Patriots. Yeah, I'm going to go receiver here. I mean, come on, stop it. We're going to go ahead. Are we going to get the speed demon in Jameson Williams? Are we going to get the smooth and silky in Chris Olave? Are we going to get my guy? I think this is going to end up being my guy in Drake London. I really like him. I like what he brings to the table. He has a ton of attributes that you really love at the position. But I'm trying to think, man. I'm not that these guys have been good at drafting receivers, but if I'm Belichick, who is the type of receiver that I would like? A student of the game, right? Coming from he's coming from wide receiver U. Okay. Brian Hartline deserves a lot of credit for what he's done with those receivers over there. For those of you who don't know that, is a former receiver. He used to play for the Dolphins. I think he played for a couple of other teams. He knows what he's talking about because he keeps producing. And they got a couple more guys coming out of there come next year. It's kind of crazy. They just keep producing. And I'm going to go with the silky smooth and Chris Olave. You know, you have a traditional quarterback, and I'm going to keep saying it. Every mock draft we talk about, they got a traditional quarterback who needs reliability. He doesn't have that right now. You know, it's kind of, you know, let's just run the football. And then when we run into trouble, all right, now we'll put it on the arm of Mac Jones. And I don't think that's the way that they want to run that system. But let's get it to a guy who's going to be reliable in terms of where he's supposed to be in his route, and a guy who's actually going to catch the football. And Chris Olave, let's get it, man. All right, next up, we have the Brian Flores-less Miami Dolphins. You know, he got let go. It's unfortunate. Not sure what that defense is going to look like. I don't know that you would change the program, but we'll see what's going on over on that side. But this isn't about the defense. It's about the offense. You have to fix the offensive line. You know, take your pick. You know, close your eyes and just pick. Right? We're not doing that because we're not doing. We got to go with my guy, Darian Kennard from Kentucky. Plays tackle. Played some inside, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead and get a guy who has a ton of snaps, a ton of. He's a seasoned guy. And a guy who can plug and play. And he can't be worse than what we saw from this season, just in general. All right, man, with the 23rd overall pick, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. Them boys made the playoffs. Rich Versace. Go ahead and re-sign them.
Man. Why they half-stepping with that, man?
I don't, Mark Davis, I don't know, bro. He's, you know,
he's trying to win the headline? Stop it. That team is responding to Versace.
You know what I'm saying? Like with everything that's going on, you know, with their $100 million coach out of there, blown out. I think every draft I'm just going to have the Raiders select a receiver. It's going to be a guy with some speed. And listen. It's not Jameson Williams. I'm sorry. I know some people are probably yelling, screaming, and you know, I know he's made some headway. But I'm going to go with the to me, the better player, and Jahan Dotson, Penn State wide receiver. He also has speed, so don't fret, Raider fan. This guy is a special talent. I think he has the potential to be the best receiver out of this class, and that's saying something with all the receivers in this draft.
Cardinals going to address a couple different positions here. On either side of the ball, I think interior of the offensive line is something that they really need to address to protect Kyler Murray, continue to be able to open up running lanes. I don't think they have any running backs under contract right now, aside from, you know, Benjamin. So that may be something that they address. Maybe not at this point, but certainly day two. On the defensive side of the ball, you got a couple of players who are still difference makers, but are longer in the tooth than J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. I believe will be an unrestricted free agent. I think you got to figure out what's going on in your secondary at corner opposite, you know, your guy Byron Murphy. I really do, and I think they could use some size. I think they could use some size there, at least some length and height here. So I'm gonna go with Ahmad Gardner, who's not given up a touchdown his entire career. Did a great job when he faced, you know, upper tier competition, whether it be against Notre Dame or Alabama, when he was matched up against Jameson Williams and John Mechie. I think at this juncture, you know, he's a steal. You know what I'm saying? At this point in the draft. In fact, all the corners on the board, as far as I'm concerned, are steals at this juncture. So I'm going to settle on Ahmad Gardner right here.
The Bengals, to me, is going to be one of those teams. It's usually like maybe 2 or 3 teams every year where it's kind of like, where do they really go? Because they don't really have a true weakness. And
they got a weakness.
I mean, they got a weakness, but it's not glaring like they have to address it right here in the first round.
Yeah, it's not glaring because the offense was so explosive, despite
you're right.
But
you're right.
But Burrow's been sacked the most. He's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this season.
Because teams bring that heat. He's also one of the better quarterbacks against the blitz too, which is crazy. Like you usually don't get both of those at the same time.
I wouldn't be blitzing them. Why would I blitz them?
Right.
Why would I blitz? If Joe Burrow is that effective against the blitz, you got Higgins, Chase, and Boyd out there. Why the hell would I blitz them?
Because I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do what we do.
All right. Well,
you know okay.
Wink Martindale. Wink Martindale. Yeah. All right.
No, but the one weakness that they need to shore up is the offensive line, and you know Riley Reef, who's on a 2-year deal, and I think they can void the second year of that contract, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he's on IR right now. All right, Nicholas Petit-Ferre. He played right tackle and left tackle, played most left tackle this year, played a little bit of right as well this year, but as far as I'm concerned, he's mainly a right tackle. He's athletic and he's versatile, can switch from side to side. It's a need, you know, and obviously I know there's some sexy picks still on the board, but I think you have to take care of business. You got to protect your quarterback. What do the Bengals look like if there's less pressure on Joe Burrow? You know what I'm saying? If you can't get there with the blitz, you know what I mean? This Bengals team, bro, like these boys, this might be, and I'm gonna knock on wood, these boys might be setting up for a dynasty, bro. That's all I'm saying, bro. Or a run, a run. Let me not go to dynasty, but a lengthy run. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills. All right, man. We're gonna protect Josh Allen here. We have to. I'm going to go with a guy who's played both inside and outside in terms of guard and tackle. I'm going to go with Jackson Kirkland, offensive tackle out of Washington. And this guy is an easy mover, very adept at getting to the second level, finding this guy, and a guy who, I mean, always out of his stance first out of everybody that's on that offensive line. And listen, the Buffalo Bills, as good as they are in terms of that offense and what they can do in terms of Josh Allen, those receivers, but you got to be able to protect your quarterback. And this is a team that's probably just not gonna run the football like everybody else at a normal basis. And I think Kirkland would be a great fit here. I know, everybody, is probably gonna kill me because why are you going that low in terms of offensive line? But listen, this is a guy who could change the fortunes of that offensive line in Kirkland.
With the Detroit Lions on the clock, this is the second of 2 first-round picks. First time around, we kept it real simple. We went and got Kayvon Thibodeau to add some teeth to this pass rush. I think we got to get back into the offensive side of the ball, be able to continue to build on what the Lions did here in the last month or so of the 2021 season. Amon-Ra St. Brown obviously emerged, was a steal, draft day steal. He went later than I think most NFL draft prognosticators probably anticipated. I guess the NFL scouts just weren't quite as high on him. Let's go get his teammate, man. Let's go get his former teammate from USC, Drake London. Drake London, like you said, Drew. He reminds you of Mike Evans, but with more oomph, with a little bit more oomph, with a little bit more pizzazz, as you like to say, after the catch, man. And what could have been had he stayed healthy this season? He was already on a tear. You know what I mean? He put up a season's worth of numbers in half a season. You know what I'm saying? With bad quarterback play. I think this is you pair these two guys up now it's problems. Now it's problems. And of course you could go quarterback here if you want to let one of these guys sit, perhaps, or perhaps bring them in, midway through the next season if Goff, falls apart or whatever the case may be. You could certainly go in that direction. But my thought process here with Detroit is we have so many other areas to address. I don't know that drafting a quarterback is going to necessarily help them, right? You're trying to create a winning culture here. Generally, the best way to do that is through the quarterback. But when you have so many holes throughout your organization, and this isn't considered a quarterback class with superior talent in it, we'll see ultimately what happens as the draft process continues to work through. I actually think Detroit could come back and grab perhaps Lee Azape, in the second round, a Carson Strong, perhaps, depending on how they acquit themselves. You know what I mean? So Jameson Williams is certainly a guy that I would consider here as well. But considering the catch radius and the margin of error Drake London can create for a quarterback, right? Too good to pass up here, even coming off the injury. So next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys, as I am drafting for the NFC. Dallas kind of has an embarrassment of riches. I don't know if you heard, Drew, but Will McClay, president of personnel, who's been basically coordinating that draft board for the better part of the last decade, and you can certainly see that bear fruit considering the amount of talent that Dallas has had over the last several years. As opposed to Jerry Jones running the draft, they're in a position where they can go best player available. I think they can certainly go best player available. I'd like to get a little bit better in terms of my interior pass rush. Is there a guy who can help me there? I'm not so sure about that. Not at this juncture, even though I really like Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia in terms of being a 3 technique. The edge isn't bad. I think ultimately they do give Randy Gregory a new contract. DeMarcus Lawrence, when healthy, is still rather effective. And of course, you have Michael Parsons at the second level, who's obviously could get after the passer as well. Had there been a Nakobe Dean available, certainly you could pair him up with Parsons. The secondary, they've placed quite a bit of draft capital in the secondary, particularly at corner over the last several years. Maybe not necessarily the first round, but on day 2 in particular, with Kelvin Joseph, and then of course Javon Diggs, who's having an All-Pro season. Anthony Brown is going into the last year of his deal. Jordan Lewis, I believe, will be an unrestricted free agent. Can never have enough corners.
Oh, come on, man! You got the pick of the litter.
I got the pick of the litter, man. And I think this is one of those, like I said, one of those situations. Of course, safety is another place you can go, and Jaquan Brisker is out there. That might actually be something that Dallas ultimately does. But considering that you have Kaiir Elam, Trent McDuffie, and Roger McCreary available, I am of the mindset in a passing league, you can never have enough of these guys that play at a high level in terms of defending the pass. So I'm going to go with perhaps maybe not my number one corner, but perhaps my favorite corner in this class. And it's going to be Roger McCreary. It's going to be Roger McCreary, man. I think people are sleeping on this guy. And like I said before, I think after the Senior Bowl, assuming he comes out of there unscathed, no injuries, I believe his arrow will be pointing directly up. If he tests well, we're talking top 20 at that point, Drew. I'm telling you.
I'm with you.
I'm telling you, in terms of all around skill set, there's no corner that I've watched that I think has it all quite like McCreary. Maybe not the ceiling that perhaps a Stingley has. Maybe not necessarily quite as buttoned up from a statistical standpoint as a Sauce Gardner. I think Elam is great in man-to-man coverage. McDuffie thrives in zone attacks. But when you talk about doing it all, I don't think there's a guy quite like Roger McCreary. Again, not necessarily the most phenomenal athlete. I think Andrew Booth is probably the best athlete at the position. But in terms of being balanced across the board and checking all the boxes, I think Roger McCreary is that guy, and certainly bolsters that secondary and that defense even more in Dallas.
Yeah, man, I can't disagree. I wasn't sure who you were going to go with. Kind of looking at everybody, I'm like, man, you could pick any of these guys to go there. But I was like, man, that's your guy. He's probably
that's my guy.
Him, so you know what I'm
saying? My
guy. Match made in heaven. So you got it. All right, man. Next up, we got 4 more picks, and then it's a wrap, man. 4 more picks. So Kansas City Chiefs, 29th pick overall, man. These boys, they need secondary.
I agree.
Whether it be at the safety position or whether it be at the corner position, I don't think it really matters. But if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm probably at this point in the draft because of the talent that's on the board. And I do like Drake Jackson there as well in terms of coming off the edge, or you can throw him inside if you like, because he's quick and explosive off the line. So I wouldn't object to that. But it's just decisions, man. Decisions. I know somebody's screaming, go with Jameson Williams, the speed. It's the receiver position, yada, yada, yada. I get all that, but nah, man, we got to show up this defense because, no, I've seen enough. And the thing about that defense is it's not and I don't know the numbers, so somebody hit me down in the comment section if you like. But it's a combination of zone and man. So they're not doing one over the other by a huge margin like some other defenses. I think it's a good mix of what they do. And I think for my money, I'm a Gator fan. I'm going to go with Kaiir Elam. Although I love Trent McDuffie. I love him. I like the play. He's good, but I'm going to go with Elam in terms of his physicality, the length. Just brings a different presence to that secondary that I think is needed. I want to check his 40 time. I think he's fine, but it's something I just want to peek my head around, look, see, okay, we good. But the other thing is he's very physical, and you're probably going to draw some pass interferences. But listen, I'll take that all day long, no questions. That'll never be an issue with me for a corner. Unless you have some absurd amount of penalties. It's like, all right, bro. Like, you're panicking all the time.
He's an aggressive man corner. Yeah. So in this ticky-tack, league, he's going to draw some flags, whatever the case may be. But more often than not, he's making a play. He's right in position. He's giving you exactly what you need, particularly in man coverage. And Spags wants to run man. Yeah, he'll play zone, but he wants to be able to man up. There's no question about it. The Trent McDuffie, he's grown on me, man. He's grown on me. And I think the attrition that has occurred. Part of the reason why I went Roger McCreary at 28 is that you just cannot have enough of those corners. You cannot have enough guys that can play in the secondary because, obviously in the passing league, guys' tongues are hanging out all the time. You try to keep guys as fresh as possible. And then, of course, when the injury bug sweeps in, we live in an age of a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? You know, there are going to be times where you don't have guys, eligible to play. I think you got to have these guys to hold up. I think you got to have the guys on the perimeter hold up. So Trent McDuffie, and then of course he's a physical guy who finds the football. You know what I'm saying? He can hold up in coverage. I think he's best suited in the zone, but certainly he can hold up in coverage. Good hands, finds the football, and then I love the way he gets after it in terms of run support. So I like Trent McDuffie here at the end of the first round for the Bucs.
All right, next up, the last AFC pick in this here mock draft, NFL mock draft. What we call it, a duel? Is it not a duel? Say
head to head.
Head to head.
Yeah, head to head.
NFC versus AFC. I have AFC. Juice has NFC. Although you probably know that by this point in the video. But the Tennessee Titans, man, I'm gonna throw a little wrench in here, bro. And right. I'm gonna go with quarterback.
Ooh.
Sam Howell.
Okay.
Say what you want about Derrick Henry and the offensive line and also the receiving core who's just been injured through the entire season. Tannehill has been terrible.
Oof.
Like bad, bro.
You all. I mean, that's the number one seed. What's wrong with you? What you mean?
No.
AJ Brown's been hurt. Right. AJ Brown's been hurt. Who else is he throwing after?
No,
after AJ Brown.
No, bro. It's been bad. Bro. Like, no.
Come on.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Let's get a guy in here we have confidence in, bro. Because if the run game is not working, which I mean that almost never happens. If the run game is not working, you know what I'm saying, and those receivers are hurt, you know what I'm saying. You can't turn to your quarterback. Tannehill's not that guy. Like he's one of those quarterbacks where he has to have the pieces around him. He's Kirk Cousins.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
He's Jared Goff. Like you have to put the pieces around him for him to flourish. And even sometimes when he has those pieces, he looked like poop. You know what I'm saying? Poo-poo. Number 2 is bad, bro. So I'm gonna draft a guy who wills his team to win, bro. We know what Sam Howell looks like when he has talent. And we know what he looks like when he doesn't have talent. And it took him a little bit to get it going in terms of the season, this past season at North Carolina. But we know what he looks like when he has talent. Could you imagine Sam Howell with the Julio? And you're not asking him, it's not going, the offense isn't going through him. You know what I'm saying? So when he does drop back, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it's going to be play action. And a guy that you're gonna after you turn around and look to see who's there. You know what I'm saying? He's probably going to be open. You know what I'm saying? Because of the run game. We're going to make things easy and simple. And when we need to go to you, when your card is called, we know he can perform. Tannehill, do you know he can perform, bro? Do you trust Tannehill, bro? No, you don't, bro. You don't. Stop it, bro. Stop it, bro. Go to Green Bay, bro.
All right. So with the last pick in our head-to-head mock draft, we have the Green Bay Packers on the clock, and just by nature of the way this mock draft is played out, Drew has thrown some curveballs. I've certainly have gone off script a little bit here as well. I was prepared here to really, working through Drake Jackson and Jermaine Johnson from FSU, a pair of edge rushers. And people may ask why. I just think, looking ahead with this team is pretty stacked, especially with all the guys that they're getting back from injury as they enter the playoffs. Green Bay has a legitimate shot. The last couple of years they've been bounced in the NFC Championship game. I think this is the best team they've fielded among those conference championship teams. Right. This year's team is the best team that they've fielded because they've demonstrated different ways to win. You understand what I'm saying? So, but with that being said, with Zadarius Smith coming off the injury, both he and Preston Smith, I believe, are slated to be unrestricted free agents in 2023. Rashawn Gary will be entering his last year. I assume that they will pick up his 5th-year option, but his rookie contract is coming to an end after the 2022 season. I think that's where I was headed originally, but as I mentioned, this mock draft has taken some twists and turns. They actually have some question marks in terms of safeties. Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos, I believe, will be UFAs as well, coming up here shortly. But I can't. I mean, I'm trying to keep Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm trying to. In all likelihood, it won't. It won't. We've also talked about, okay, what does it look like afterwards? If I know going into draft night that Aaron Rodgers won't be back in Green Bay, in all likelihood, I'll probably roll the dice on Matt Corral, right?
Okay.
But if Aaron Rodgers is perhaps still on the fence, or we've mended the fences, and I know he's expected back, or even if he doesn't come back, and Mark Corral's already off the board, we also are of the mindset that this team needs more teeth in terms of its passing attack, right? With Robert Tonyan going down, Alan Lazard has stepped up. MVS he flashes from time to time, but both those two players are expected to be unrestricted free agents as well. So you have literally nobody, right? Outside of perhaps Amari Rodgers that'll be under contract. Devontae Adams in all likelihood will get the franchise tag. I think that's a foregone conclusion. But like I said, if I'm trying to ensure that whomever the quarterback is, 2022, 2023, has the requisite weapons, I find it I'd be hard pressed to pass up Jameson Williams at this juncture, man. Obviously he slid down the board towards ACL in the national championship game, but the explosiveness, we expect him to gain all of the explosiveness. I think there's a certain physicality to his play as well. He's not just a straight line speedster. He makes plays at every level of the field. I've even seen him make plays on special teams as a gunner. You know what I'm saying? That just tells me different mentality, man. Different mentality. So just imagine having Devontae Adams, Jameson Williams, perhaps Amari Rodgers in the slot. That just might be enough to convince Aaron Rodgers to come back and run it back again. You know what I'm saying? And if not, the next quarterback has some weaponry at his disposal, make a name for himself as well. So I'm gonna go with Jameson Williams here at the end of the first round.
By the way, if I'm not mistaken, you hit me down in the comment section. He also was an Ohio State receiver.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. This was fun, Drew. We'll have to run it back. We'll probably do the next time around. I'll probably jump on an AFC, and we may actually go a 2-round draft. All right?
No, bro. No.
All right, man. All right, guys. Again, like I said before, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if it's more of this type of videos that you want to see, be sure to let us know down in the comments.